Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Talking Tongue, the bi-weekly escape from reality show where I get to escape from reality with my favorite people in the world. And let me tell you, today is Valentine's Day, a day of love, a day of connecting with your friends, a day of just feeling all the romance in the world. And I sent a Valentine. I sent it a few provinces over, and it finally got answered. This Valentine has been in the mail for, I want to say, like 3 years, 4 years. I don't know how long it's been since I've talked to this person, but she is such an incredible person. I'm talking about Alyssa Wooldridge, everyone.
Hi, I'm so excited to have finally got the Valentine. I'm so excited to be here. Best Valentine's ever.
I'm so sorry that the chocolate that I gave you got moldy in transit. I mean, it took way too long.
Canada Post, I'm telling you.
Right? Supply chain issues. I get it. Like all that stuff, post issues. But I'll send another box of what's your favorite chocolate, Alyssa?
Oh, wow. Here's the thing. I'm actually just going to go plain M&Ms in the fridge.
What? Wait, I gotta unpack this. Let's unpack this a little bit. Plain M&Ms, not even like the peanut butter one or the peanut ones,
no.
Just plain. Okay.
Original plain, but they must be refrigerated.
Why?
I don't really know, but it's just like, I think one time I actually just didn't have any space in my cupboard to put the M&Ms, so I just threw them in the fridge.
You didn't have space for M&Ms? They're so tiny.
Let me tell you, my life is a mess. I'm going to tell you that right now. So I just put the M&Ms in the fridge, and it changed my life. And here is the ultimate snack, okay?
Okay.
Pretzels, got to be the sticks, not the... What do you call not the pretzel shape? Pretzel shape.
What shape is that? Like an infinity? No, it's not even that either. I don't know.
Those. Not those. Pretzel sticks, cold M&Ms.
Interesting. Do you have a name for this combination?
No. Okay. And now I really regret not. I'm open to suggestions.
Because I was talking to Laura the other day when we were like grocery shopping, and she saw nibs, and then she saw M&Ms next to those nibs, and she says that's like a famous, I say quote unquote. First time I was hearing about it, like a combination M&Ms and nibs is like the movie snack. But I've never heard M&Ms and pretzels before.
Yeah, well, give it a try. I'm telling you right now, it's gonna change your life.
But if I get the regular shaped pretzels, then it's not going to taste good at all.
No, it's not as good. It's, it's about the experience.
Okay. All right. Alyssa Wooldridge, everyone. Alyssa, it's been so long since you've been in the pod cavern. First time on Talking Tongue. I feel like it is usually impossible to get you on a podcast or anything. So this feels like a big achievement for me today.
I do like to say I'm the flakiest person alive. So this is definitely an achievement. Congratulations.
Yes. And it's funny because the last time you're in the pod cavern, I think you're on a ranked episode talking about, well, save it for later, our movie of the week, as well as it was a Valentine special as well.
It was. So I kind of like love this full circle moment.
Right. Do you even like Valentine's Day? I keep bringing you onto Valentine's Day episodes, but like, I just want to make sure you like it.
This is actually, I think, one of the most surprising things about me, because I can be quite cynical about holidays. And I've also been like famously single forever. So you would think that I would find it really depressing. I love it. I love Valentine's Day. I love seeing everyone's posts about the people they love. I love buying little treats for my family. I love the pink. I love the hearts. Weirdly, Christmas, not for me. Valentine's Day, bring it on.
This is mind-blowing. I've known you for years. I didn't know Christmas was such a little meh for you, but Valentine's over Christmas.
Yes, 100%. Isn't that surprising?
Do you get Valentine's people sending you cards all the time and cinnamon hearts and okay. You just like the idea from a distance and watching everyone else fall in love.
Yeah, I just like the excuse to tell people you love them. And, I give my sister a gift, my little nephew a gift. My mom usually gets me a gift.
Wow.
It's just nice.
a question for you. Have you made a move on Valentine's Day? Maybe this is a personal question, but what is the move if you haven't made it already? Like, say there's a Channing Tatum is, let's use Channing Tatum. He's coming back in the news here. Someone
Yes.
low bar. You want to ask him to be your Valentine. How will you do it?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. I've never made a move on Valentine's. I'm more of a birthday gal. But I think I would use my same method. I would probably give them like a really personalized, thoughtful gift. That's been my move in the past.
Okay.
It's never worked. So don't take the advice from me.
I feel like that's an amazing move. A thoughtful gift. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what I would do.
Okay, so let's just get back to this Channing Tatum example. What would you give him for Valentine's Day for your thoughtful gift?
Oh, wow. I think for him, okay, so he has this new movie coming out with Sandra Bullock. Have you seen the trailer for it? It's like The Lost City of D or something.
Oh, I did. I only thought of the dog movie that he has coming out.
Oh, I saw the trailer for that. I was at the movies last night and I saw the trailer for that and I was like, I will be seeing that.
Me too.
But he has this new movie coming out with Sandra Bullock. And it's like them. She's a romance novelist, writer, and he is the cover star for all of her novels. And then they like actually get stuck in like a dangerous situation and he has to save her, but he's like not capable. Mm-hmm. Anyways, it's really giving me, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Romancing the Stone with Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner. It's from like the 80s.
I have seen it. Yes.
So good. I love that movie. That's like a big time comfort movie for me. And I feel like this Channing Tatum movie is like following in that footsteps. So I think what I would do is I would find something from Romancing the Stone and give that to Channing Tatum, like maybe a pair of like crocodile boots.
Wow.
And I'd be like, I love that you're following in Michael Douglas's footsteps. Here you go. Think of me every time you wear these.
That's an incredibly thoughtful gift. And now I'm just like brainstorming. I'm like, you should be on all the Love episodes of Ranked. I think so. All the Love movie episodes of Ranked. Question for you was, I'm just going to guess. It's not a question. It's more of a comment. Because I feel as though I'm going to just guess what movie you saw last night in the theaters.
You know it. You don't even have to guess. Laura, I'm confident you know.
Do you think, okay, if I say the wrong movie, I'm sorry. But Laura just went to see a movie last night too with her girlfriends. And I'm quite sure this is the movie you saw, which was the Jennifer Lopez and Owen Wilson movie. Okay.
Yes, correct. I have been saying for years that the world started going downhill when J-Lo stopped making rom-coms every few years. Whoa. And is it a coincidence that we are seeing COVID restrictions dropping, the end in sight as this movie is released? That's not a coincidence.
It might be a coincidence, but let's just say it's not.
J-Lo saved us all. Okay. You heard it here first.
The review that Laura gave. What's this movie called, first of all?
Marry Me.
God damn it. Okay. Okay. The review that Laura gave me was that, first of all, apparently within the first 5 minutes, she leaned to her friend and she said, "This is the best movie I've ever seen." Mostly-
I did too.
Maybe you're with her, because Laura was like, in a world where there's just so much shit happening, sometimes it's great to have a movie where you watch the first 5 minutes and you know exactly how it's going to play out, and it does it so well. And then J-Lo was on fire, apparently, like she was amazing. And I just guessed the plot of the movie, and she's like, "Well, you'll have to watch it to find out." I'm like, "No, I don't. I know exactly what's going to happen."
Yeah, it was perfect, predictable Valentine's escapism. And it's what we all needed.
Okay, great. Marry me.
I will say, I don't know if Owen Wilson was charismatic to make up for like how more attractive J-Lo is than him. That was kind of like my only thing. And in the movie, they went on Instagram Live a lot, which I was like, I'm sorry, no one does that. And that was the only thing that didn't ring true. I love that in this crazy plot of the movie that is never going to happen. I'm like, the most unrealistic thing is how many times those marketing managers put them on Instagram Live. No one would do that.
And you know a thing or two about that. Just, Instagram Live, it's not a hot thing anymore. It's not, I'm not sure. I have no idea.
It's such a gamble.
It's a gamble. Okay, I'm so curious about that. But first of all, we're getting ahead of ourselves here. Alyssa, I feel like already people know who you are just based on your conversation about Jennifer Lopez and Channing Tatum.
Need to know about me, you can figure out from the last 5 minutes.
Yeah. But if we have to spell it out, who is Alyssa? Tell us.
Who is Alyssa? Well, I'm from PEI, Prince Edward Island. Island gal, lived there pretty much my whole entire life. I'm a social media manager. I work for a company that has a bunch of restaurants, hotels, breweries, music festivals. So I'm on Instagram basically like 18 hours a day.
That's insane.
It's actually 8, which is still insane. But
okay, that's considerably less than 18 hours, but but that is still a lot of time to spend on Instagram.
Important. I do love an exaggeration. That's important to know.
Yeah.
So love being on Instagram. And I watch a lot of movies. So basically my life, I like see my family every once in a while. And then I go to work and then I watch movies. And that's basically my entire life.
What is your favorite movie that you've seen that's not Marry Me recently?
Ooh, that I've seen recently. I really, really loved Red Rocket.
I've never even heard of Red Rocket. Is this a new movie?
It's newish. It's the same, like Sean Baker, who did Tangerine and The Florida Project.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's his newest movie and it's so good. And I've been like trying to get everyone to watch it and no one will watch it and it's pissing me off.
Where do I watch it?
No
find
movies
it?
come.
Is your answer find it?
Well, no movies come. I think it's in theaters right now, but I'm living on this little island. No movies come here. Literally, Spider-Man is playing in like 3 of our 8 theaters right now.
As it should, but there's no other movies coming to your theater? Oh, wait, hang on. Did you just do a little face to Spider? I know you don't love Marvel movies.
No, I respect. Do you know the reason I can't see Spider-Man? It's too emotional.
I believe that.
I can't handle it.
That's the reason?
And I know the plot, like I know what happens because I was like, I have to know what's going on to be able to like fit into pop culture right now. And I was like crying reading the Wikipedia plotline. I can't handle it. I can't do it.
I also I've known you for years now. And I know when you say you were crying when you were reading the Wikipedia, and I know you were probably likely actually crying. This is not an exaggeration.
100%. I keep an Excel spreadsheet of how many days a year I cry. Okay. And that's one of the reasons on one of the days. Read the Spider-Man plot too much.
Oh my God. What are we at in the tally right now? How many times have you cried so far this year?
I think we're in like 40 days into the year. I think I've cried like 29. That's not bad.
That's not bad? Okay. But it's not always they're happy cries too, right? There's a different level.
100% happy cries. And also just like a little teary. I count that. So it's not like I'm not fully weeping. Don't be concerned.
That's a separate tally altogether.
Yeah, 100%.
Last question for you before we move on to the news of the week. What are the things that keep you kind of going and just happy during this dark period that we live in? I just want to start on a positive note for the people because this used to be a segment on Talking Tongue and I took it out and now it's back. Just more I want people to feel inspired, people to what keeps it going every single day?
Oh, wow. Great question. Big question. I feel like mine is hyper specific to my own life.
That's all I'm looking for.
I don't know what the situation is with you guys in Ontario with restaurants, but our restaurants were just closed down for 2 weeks and we opened up half capacity and now we're kind of getting back. But I just did my little, because I work for a bunch of restaurants, I just did my little round of restaurants this weekend and it's like the first weekend in months that everyone's full and everyone's busy and everyone's happy to be out and it still feels really safe. And it literally I was on such a high on Friday night because everyone's just eating good food and having good beer and seeing their friends and just being together. And it's that feeling of okay, we're getting there. We're going to be back to normal. And for some reason, I just feel like being in a restaurant is just
that's so your home base.
It sounds dumb, but
no, it's not. You spend so much time in a restaurant schmoozing with people. Your job sounds exhausting in general. Just there's so much schmoozing going on and hyping people up. It's a lot.
Constantly. It is. I would say my days off are Sundays and Mondays, and I generally on Mondays try to speak to no one.
Okay, good. Good thing we're not recording this on a Monday.
Yes.
You would not say any of this to me.
The energy would be very different.
You're like, Tuong, get back to me next Sunday. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, I love that. I feel like the energy is different in Ontario. PEI is like a different country as far as I'm concerned altogether of how everything has been going down. Ontario, as you know, is a mess right now, but I'm not going to even talk about that because you know what? We don't have time for that. We got to talk about the news of the week, the very important news of the week, which is not important at all because they're just pop culture headlines that I'm seeing for the first time on IGN.com. Yes. Alyssa, can you not wait for this? I'm not sure how I'm segueing this, but I'm just going to read it. 21 Jump Street directors reveal more details of the Men in Black crossover that almost happened. I'm not going to read that, but mostly I forgot this was even a thing, a 21 Jump Street / Men in Black crossover. Do you want that?
I feel like I do not care about it, but I would see it. You know what I mean? It's like I am not invested at all, but if it was in theaters, I'd be like, yeah, I'll go see that.
But you like 21 Jump Street, right? I think, or the 22.
Love.
Yes, love that stuff. But Men in Black, you're like, meh, aliens, suits.
I just like don't even really remember the movies that much.
Yeah. Neither do
I should probably rewatch.
Should you? I don't know. There was 4 of those movies. The newest one.
If you could absolve me from, feeling like I have to rewatch them, that would be great.
I'm not I don't know if this comes as a surprise to anyone, but I'm not a big Men in Black fan. I think the first one was pretty good. And then I was just like, whatever for the other ones. And then the new one came out with Tessa Thompson and Chris Hemsworth, and it was supposed to be a big fart. So
I didn't see it. So
I didn't see it either. Okay. Well, I would see that because of Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum.
Same.
Yes. Did you watch Encanto at all?
Okay, so the other thing is I don't watch animated films also because I find them too emotional. It's like I feel like animated films are like created to teach children how to feel, and I already have too many feelings.
What if you could channel your emotions by watching is there a tipping point where you keep watching these?
I will watch them with an actual child. So my nephew loves Encanto. So I've seen bits and pieces of it. And obviously the song We Don't Talk About Bruno is like blowing up on TikTok. So I feel like I've heard that a billion times.
I also I'm just going to take a pause here in terms of like TikTok because I'm talking to the social media person. My question to you is that, Alyssa, I feel like you've touched like all of the social media platforms in the world. Remember when that List social media platform came out? And
I was obsessed.
You were obsessed. And that social media platform was literally just making lists of stuff, which you were very good at.
I know. And no one was on it. Like it was such a small group of people. Yeah. And the people who were on it, like I still follow a bunch of girls on Twitter, like little communities, like little internet friends, and
that's incredible.
What a weird moment in time. Yeah.
The memory that sticks out to me is one time you texted me being like, BJ Novak liked my list. And I was like, that's incredible. That's amazing.
Greatest moment of my life.
That was years ago. And then nothing has since stopped that. Where was I? Oh, yes. TikTok. I assume you have your own TikTok. I assume you're crazy about it right now.
Yeah, I did have a couple TikToks get kind of big. And then my views, I got cyberbullied a lot, which was very funny. Because like when you're getting cyberbullied on TikTok, you're getting bullied by 10-year-olds. So it's not even hurtful. It's like very funny.
Yeah, okay.
And then my videos stopped getting views. So I gave up. So I don't make videos anymore, but I consume a lot of TikTok.
Gotcha. What were your videos, if I may ask?
I used to do tutorials of how to make cute aesthetic Instagram stories.
I love that. That's like so in your wheelhouse. Laura's starting to make some now too. It's one of those like she doesn't want to tell anyone about her TikTok. I guess I'm revealing it on Talking Tongue, but she just wants to
will be looking her up.
Oh,
I like need Laura to know. Like I truly feel like you and Laura are like a celebrity couple to me. No. And I like her stories where she's doing like renovations and DIY. Like I'm not like when she has a new story up, I'm like racing. I'm racing to watch it.
I will tell her that because it's been a while since she's been inspired to do DIY, but she's been on the TikTok train hard right now.
Okay, well, I'll be looking for her because I'm obsessed with all of her content.
Yeah, just type her name in. I think the number's 88. And she's just been doing like, she's been obsessed. Well, she's always has been obsessed, but she's been doing a lot of thrifting lately, finding fun clothes. And she's doing like outfits of the day every single morning. It's like, film a TikTok video and just do not crazy, but a creative outfit of the day. Yeah.
Okay. I cannot wait. And I also always love her music choices. I'm always here for all the T Swift.
So it really sounds like you're more into Laura as the celebrity couple rather than the part where I'm involved.
I'm so sorry. I wasn't going to say that, so I'm glad that you kind of figured it out on your own.
Just want to make sure. It's usually always Laura. In fact, every time there's a story with me and Laura, it's just like, oh, Laura's so beautiful. She's so funny. She's so witty. Oh, Captain Meatball's in the back. That's so great. Tuong, what did you say? I had to replay the video to hear what you said. Anyways, we don't talk about Bruno. I don't know why I forgot. Oh, Encanto. Yes. It made #1 on the billboards, which Let It Go never did. Yeah. Crazy. You've heard the song a million times, I'm sure, even if you haven't seen it.
Many a time.
And?
I made a TikTok with one of the sections of the song for work.
Oh my God. So do you like the songs? Are the songs in Encanto good for you?
Well, I only know that one. And I enjoy it when I see it on TikTok. So Amazing. Sure.
Okay. Well, I just thought you're a big Lin-Manuel fan from the Hamilton days, but you know.
Very true. Love Tick Tick Boom.
You like Tick Tick Boom? Okay, then you'd like Encanto. I think
I would.
You have to watch it.
Okay.
At least
I'm not going to make any promises, but I will think about it.
I know what that means. I've got that a lot in my life, especially on Valentine's Day.
The tradition continues.
Yes. Goosebumps live action TV series announced for Disney Plus. Are you a Goosebumps person? Do you like horror stuff?
No, Goosebumps was back. I grew up super religious, so I like to call that like my pop culture blackout phase. We were not allowed to watch a lot of things, so Goosebumps was never a part of my I've never seen it.
But now,
or read it. It was books, right? Was it books?
They were books, and I say horror, but it was like kid horror, like that's this kid scary kind of stuff. Now that you're older, would you watch Goosebumps? Or you're like, nah, screw it. I don't need to be scared.
Probably not.
Then let's move on.
The scariest I'm going is like A Quiet Place. That is like the max scary.
Okay. What about Jordan Peele's movies? Because the Nope trailer just dropped.
Oh, I haven't watched yet.
It just dropped today. Yeah.
Does it look good?
Yeah, I mean, I liked his other movies a lot. Get Out and Us are incredible. Did you watch those too?
I never saw Get Out, but I read the screenplay.
Did it make you cry?
I was nervous. I was going to be too scared. And I never saw, what was the other one called? Us? I never saw that one. No.
Us would scare you, I think.
I think it's a little too much.
Yeah. I usually recommend because you said Quiet Place is your bar, right?
Yeah.
I would say Get Out is like as scary as Quiet Place, probably. I think it's much more interesting, even though I like Quiet Place. And Us there's a lot of ideas happening, but it is freaky. And I think there's parts of it that are like, there's a part, like a home invasion part where I know a lot of people don't like, where people are standing in the driveway and someone's like, there are people in our driveway. And that alone is like, nope. Yeah. But speaking of Nope, new movie called Nope coming out.
Okay, well, I'm glad that you've told me because I'm sure someone will reference it and now I'll be able to pretend I know what they're talking about.
Right. You love to be up to date with your pop culture.
Yes, even if I'm faking it.
Yeah. Do you care about the Oscars? I forgot. Like that. Those nominations.
I'm obsessed. I love the Oscars.
And what are you thinking?
My number one opinion was I was going to listen to your episode about Don't Look Up, but I didn't get to it. I listened to your West Side Story one. So I don't know your opinion, but I was very upset that Don't Look Up got a spot in Best Picture. And I think that Tick Tick Boom should have got that spot.
I forgot that Tick Tick Boom did not. So when we recorded Don't Look Up, that was our last episode. Oscar nominations weren't out yet. So you're getting a fresh take from me right now. That, I agree with you. Yeah.
Like that movie was fine.
I liked Don't Look Up. I don't think it's breaking. I don't know. I think it's fine. It's good. The reason, you know why it got nominated. There's just so much star power behind it. Yeah. So that was I was kind of upset about that. I was really hoping, I knew it wasn't gonna happen. I was hoping Simon Rex from Red Rocket was gonna get Best Actor nom. That didn't happen. But other than that, it is what it is. I still have like 3 of the Best Picture nominations that I still have to see. So which ones? I
can find them. I have to see Licorice Pizza.
Yep.
I have to see Drive My Car.
Yep.
And I haven't seen Belfast. I'm going to be honest. I don't know if I'm going to watch Belfast.
That's what I've heard from so many people. I've heard that from yeah, I guess I'll watch Belfast, but only if it's like super accessible and if I'm feeling it, which usually means like I'll never watch this movie.
I know. Have you seen most of them?
No, I'm also did not watch a lot of those. Yeah, I'm going to. I like the Oscars and I like the movies and stuff like that, even though I think Oscar nominations are bullshit like every year. But
yes,
I do want to see those movies, so I will. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But Belfast, something about it when I was watching it, I was like the trailer, it was playing in a local movie theater. I'm like, I get it. I get why people would be into this. It's like black and white.
Seems like heartwarming.
Yeah.
It's not for me.
The heartwarming thing isn't for you. It's such a weird.
It seems like a little too heartwarming for me. No, I don't know. Maybe it's the black and white. I don't know.
You don't like black and white films?
Well, sometimes I don't mind them. First, I don't know what it is about that movie. It does not appeal to me. And I like Jamie Dornan a lot.
Right. I have the opinion of it kind of just looks boring. That's what I look at it. I'm like, it looks just, I don't know if he'll do anything for me. So we'll see.
No.
I got to watch Power of the Dog still.
So good.
So good.
Really good.
I'm a big Cumber bitch. You know this about me. Benny Cumby
It's a little slow.
I've heard that.
So you got to like go in prepared. But if you're prepared for like kind of a slow paced movie, very good.
Okay. My last thing about the Oscars was I didn't see House of Gucci, and it's not on Best Picture. It looked terrible, and it looked like a movie that was supposed to be nominated for an Oscar, and it wasn't. Did you watch that movie?
Yeah, that movie, I did not regret my time spent with that movie, but it's not great. It's also extremely long. Like, I feel like if they would have cut 45 minutes from the movie, I would have loved it, but it was so long.
And I need to ask you about Jared Leto's accent in the movie, or like his choice of his character. What's that about?
It's a lot. It's just I honestly couldn't tell if he was like a genius or if it was like the worst thing I had ever seen. And I still don't know.
Okay, that's all I needed to know. Belfast, Coda, haven't seen that. Don't Look Up, I have. Drive My Car, nope. Dune, yes. King Richard, nope. Licorice Pizza, nope. Nightmare Alley, no. Wow, all of these except for West Side Story. Love that movie. Great movie.
It was great.
So good. Maybe a little long, but great.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay, enough about those great films. We have possibly the greatest film, at least in Alyssa's opinion. Yeah. Again, when I thought of what I wanted to do for the Valentine's Day special, there was only one name that came up, and that was definitely Alyssa. Alyssa, do you want to introduce the film for me?
Okay, yes. This is, in my opinion, a perfect movie from start to finish. Perfect for Valentine's Day. I think it maybe has single-handedly ruined every woman's expectation of what life could be and will be. It is When Harry Met Sally.
Men and women can't be friends because no man can be friends with a woman that he finds attractive. He always wants to have sex with her.
So you're saying that a man can be friends with a woman he finds unattractive?
No, you pretty much want to nail him too.
When Harry Met Sally, everyone. This is, I think this is the movie that won our number one spot on top 5 rom-coms. Am I right on that? It has to have been.
I think so.
1989's When Harry Met Sally. Luckily, there was never a sequel to this movie in a world of sequels and reboots. God, do you think they'll make a reboot to this movie or a remake?
Imagine it's like their kid finding her soulmate or something. I hope not.
They can't touch it. Don't touch this movie.
Just leave it be.
Yes.
No.
Yeah, we don't need that. Okay, I don't even know where to begin with this. Let's start with Alyssa, you want to give like the general synopsis of this movie?
Okay, yeah. So the movie is basically, the theme of the movie is, can men and women be friends? So Sally Albright, Harry Burns, so they're played by Meg Ryan, Billy Crystal. They meet, they've just graduated college. They meet, they're driving to New York together. They hate each other. Harry brings up this thing that he doesn't think men and women can be friends. Sally thinks he's dumb. They end up parting ways and they're like, do you know what? We hate each other. We're never going to see each other again. Fast forward 5 years, they run into each other in the airport and he is on the same flight as her. They have another chat. They still honestly are not getting along that good, but he's telling her that he's getting married. She is coincidentally in a relationship with a friend of his. They kind of have this chat and then they go on their separate ways again. Fast forward another 5 years, he is getting divorced and she has just been broken up with, and they're kind of like both sad together. And then they're like, do you know what? Maybe we should be friends. And then they become friends. And then they sleep together and it ruins everything, just as Harry predicted it would. But then they realize they love each other and they end up together and they live happily ever after. In their wedding, they have a coconut cake. This is what dreams are made of.
I just saw this movie last night and a little bit this morning just to be prepared for this. And it's like uncanny how much like little details that you're able to sneak into the synopsis of this movie. I'm sure you could have went beat by beat for this entire movie.
It surprised me because I rewatched it like this morning. It surprised me how much of this movie I have memorized.
Yeah, I would love to see that. Honestly, maybe we should do that for the Talking Tongue episode is just have you
see,
reenact
like, what
it.
percentage?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Let me ask you, how many times have you seen this movie? You think? Just estimate.
I don't know. I've been keeping track of like every movie I've seen since 2014, but I would have watched it a lot of times before. I would say I probably watch it like maybe 3 or 4 times a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Since when? Since 2014 or like before that?
I'd say probably since like 2008.
Oh my God. Oh
yeah.
my God.
It's a lot of times.
And this is no doubt your favorite movie of all time.
Yeah, this and You've Got Mail are kind of like both up there, but this one always just beats it out by a little bit.
I've seen You've Got Mail. I like You've Got Mail quite a lot, but the dynamic between Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan, I think is just a little bit more interesting than the Tom Hanks angle here.
Yeah. And in You've Got Mail, realistically, Tom Hanks is kind of a dick. So like I watched that movie and I'm like, this guy kind of sucks, to be honest.
Billy Crystal kind of sucks too. He just has his
agreed.
Yeah.
But not as much. He's not trying to like ruin her life like Joe Fox and You've Got Mail.
That's true. That's true. Billy Crystal is honestly a dick. I guess he's like really forward about it. He's just like, just tells it as it is. And Meg Ryan accepts him eventually about it.
Yes.
Wow. How do I start this conversation of a movie you've seen a zillion times, a classic? I'll go with myself first. First time I saw this movie, I'm pretty sure was just before our top 5 rom-coms episode, which I just looked up. I think that was in 2019. So that was like a while
Pretty
ago.
Fresh.
Yeah.
Like in comparison to me in 2008. Yeah,
exactly. And then I watched it a few more times after. I would say today or just recently was my 4th time watching it. And I'm not against rom-coms at all. I kind of grew up with them. I have 2 sisters and I watch them with Laura sometimes. And I think a rom-com has to be, or like a romance movie in general, has to hit specific beats to get out of this idea of just like, it's all the same. When you talk about Marry Me, that movie I have no interest in that because it looks like I just know exactly what's going to happen. When Harry Met Sally, yes, they end up together, but the journey there is so like nothing I've ever seen before in a rom-com, still to this day.
And the jokes are so good. And I feel like, typically there is this kind of idea that rom-coms are for women and like men don't find them as accessible. But I feel like When Harry Met Sally is also enough of like a straight comedy that it is a little more accessible to everyone. Because it is so well written. Like the dialogue in this movie is so good.
The 2 leads just completely carry that dialogue too. Like Billy Crystal is so snippy the way he just, oh my God, and Meg Ryan too. What am I saying? Like both are just so good with what they have. Good. Yeah.
And for me, like this is very shallow, and I will admit that. But for a rom-com to be like successful to me, like the male lead has to be very attractive. It's just like, that's what I'm watching this movie for. Okay. And Billy Crystal isn't, but he's so charismatic. He like makes up for it. So it's like your male lead has either got to be super charismatic or super good looking. It's like, and Billy Crystal, it's very rare. that someone can do that and look at him. And I get so mad because people will tell me all the time, they're like, I can't watch that movie because I'm not attracted to Billy Crystal. I'm like, that is such a horrible reason. You have to watch it.
There's so much to unpack
all the time.
There's so much to unpack in that. Well, first of all, that's a ridiculous reason not to watch a movie. It's because the lead actor is not attractive enough. But I
will say I probably have done that too. So
yeah, okay, all right, fair enough.
I will expose myself.
But I feel like with a movie like When Harry Met Sally, everyone knows this movie. Everyone has quoted this movie in pop culture. A lot of things like "I'll have what she's having," the orgasm scene. There's just so many lines in this movie that have permeated pop culture. And I feel like 100%. A lot of places have spoofed just like the interviews that happen every, few scenes or so with the couples and stuff like that. I've seen that so many times.
Yeah. And I think I was reading a bunch of Letterboxd reviews and it's just so foreign to me that someone would hate this movie. And I was like reading all these reviews of people who are like, this is a horrible movie, that I've seen this a million times. And I'm like, but have you seen it a million times because people are copying it?
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
Probably. But I don't know if I've seen a good copy of this movie. I don't know. The structure of this movie with the interviews in between and the time skips and the very believable trajectory of their friendship. I think that's the thing that gets me with this movie is that they hate each other. Then they kind of not like each other. Then they become friends and they're friends for a good long time in the movie. And you believe that they start becoming friends. They also disagree with each other all the time, but they're still friends. And when the moment that they finally kiss and it's awkward, all of that is believable to me.
Yeah, 100%. It's very genuine.
Yeah. And I don't know. I feel like a lot of, and I'm generalizing because I haven't seen a lot of romance movies, but I've seen enough of them that when I'm like, man, that doesn't feel earned, or like, I don't know, something about this is just like, of course you'll get together. This one was like a slow drip and we only get them together at the very, very end of the movie.
Yeah. So it's such a good payoff. And originally they weren't supposed to end up together. I don't know if you know that, but in the original writing of the movie, they were supposed to just go their own separate ways.
Oh my God.
And I feel like that is a more realistic ending to the movie, but I'm so glad they gave us the big happy ending because it is such a perfect moment.
I understand why they wouldn't want them together, at least on paper, because the idea of can men and women be friends kind of thing, they're playing with that. And at the very end, I guess they are friends, but they're also lovers. So
exactly.
Yeah. Oh man. What other fun facts have you learned about When Harry Met Sally over the years?
I feel like I've just read a lot about the writing process, just because I'm obsessed with Nora Ephron, the writer. She's my life hero. I feel like I've modeled. Actually, I gave one of her books to a friend of mine who's only known me 6 months. And my friend was like, so did you model your entire personality after Nora Ephron? And I was like, wow, I should not have given you that book. But no, I've read a lot about that process. Basically Rob Reiner wanted to make a movie about, he was just recently divorced and he was in all these relationships and they weren't working out. And he wanted to make a movie about what it's like to be friends with women and if it's possible. I guess this is a conversation he had in his life all the time and he felt like he was missing the woman's perspective. So he asked Nora if she was interested and she would basically just interview him and his friends about what they thought about dating and women and life. And she just used all of those moments that she got from those interviews combined with moments from her own life. And that's kind of what came together to make the script.
Oh, that's so cool. I did read that she, when she interviewed a bunch of couples and stuff, she took the real stories, put it in the movie, and then they got actors to play out those parts. But those parts are those are my favorite parts of the movie. It's so sweet.
It's so good. Which one? Do you have a favorite one?
Oh, I don't know. I just love all of there's a lot of them like this when they're just talking over each other as if they've been together for ever. A lot of them do that, but it's just that to me feels genuine. They're not waiting for someone to finish their line. They just literally talk and finish each other's sentences. And it's just that's love, baby. Right there.
It always sticks out to me every time I watch the one couple where he says, and she's just gotten more beautiful with age. And she looks at him and she goes, he stayed exactly the same. I often wonder, is that a chirp? You've gotten more beautiful and he wasn't beautiful to begin with, or he's, that could go either way.
I guess my question for you here now is what, besides the whole movie, what are your favorite moments of the movie? If you have to boil it down.
Favorite moments of the movie. I think there's so many good line readings in this movie. Like
Yep.
just like Meg Ryan, like when she's talking about the days of the week underwear and he goes, why? And she goes, because of God. Just like her line reading of that is so good. It kills me every time. I love the moment where Billy Crystal is telling Bruno Kirby about his divorce and they're at like I think it's a baseball game.
It's like, is it a baseball game where they're just practicing swinging or something?
There's that part, but then there is a part where they're like in a stadium
and
he's
the stadium.
telling him, he's like talking about how his wife is leaving him and he's devastated because she's leaving him for someone else. And in the meantime, they're doing the wave.
Yeah.
And I would give anything to like be in the room where someone pitched that idea of like, what if he's saying this devastating thing, but they're also participating in the wave?
Yeah.
It's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Just love that moment. And then of course, like the end scene where, the famous, I love that you get cold when it's 70 degrees outside. I mean, I feel like that's one of the best monologues I've ever seen.
I had to rewind it a few times. I'll be honest with you. I was just like examining it. I think I saw it like 3 times, like this morning, just to examine how it's delivered. And I'm like, this is incredible because like obviously the cheesy thing and a lot of people spoof this is the idea where the male is now realizing that he's been wrong this entire time and running towards the girl. We've seen that a million times, but When Harry Met Sally did it the best. But the interaction when he finally tells her that he loves her and she denies him, I think that's the like such a key moment where it's just like he just professed his love, but it's not enough. So when he finally says why he loves her and all of the reasons are just mundane and very personal to the person he's talking to, that's where it hits me.
Oh yeah, and it's just like the rhythm. I think that's too like their dialogue. The dialogue's so good is because it's so like rhythmic and the way like they're so snappy and in that last section, just like he doesn't. It's like it's so natural for him to be saying all these things about her. He doesn't even have to like stop to think about it. It's just all coming out, and I think it gives you like I think every I don't know if it's everyone's dream. Every girl's dream is just that someone's gonna know them and just.
Yeah.
And just, you're with someone and they just know. There's a movie, The Mirror Has Two Faces with Barbara Streisand. And in that, she's like, all I want is for someone to just like know what I order and just like know what I, want to eat at night. And they just like, have this like comfortable life. And it's just this like beautiful moment of like, he has like seen her and just like loves all these, as you said, mundane things about her. And is that not the dream?
I feel like that's the dream for everyone, right? Right?
Yes. Yeah.
And then, the obviously the line of like, I'm paraphrasing, but like wanting to have to begin life as soon.
If you
like,
want to, when you
ahead.
Realize you want to spend the rest of your life with someone, you want the rest of your life to start as soon as possible.
There it is.
What a line.
What a line. It's good. It's perfect. And then like
it is.
Quickly you get the I hate you, but you see it in her face and her facial expressions.
You make it impossible to hate you, Harry.
It's beautiful.
And it's
great. Carrie Fisher is also in this movie too. People often forget about Carrie Fisher's non-Star Wars career.
Carrie Fisher honestly steals every scene she's in. When she's like bringing out the Rolodex to try to set Sally up with one of her friends. Oh, it's so good. And when she's like saying to him, like when she's saying to Sally, she can't believe she broke up with her boyfriend. And she says, you had a date on every national holiday. I'm like, girl, isn't that really the only reason we're in relationships? So we have someone to spend holidays with? The girl gets it.
Yeah, she's
so funny.
She's so good. Oh, the scene when they both sleep with each other, Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan, and then they call their best friends, and there's like a 4-way scene going. Like that is brilliant. The way it's done, it's so just good. I have so much to say about this movie, just like the celebration of this movie, and I don't get. This is not a reflection. This is just a reflection on the movies that I watch, that I don't get this passionate about rom-com movies just in general. But this movie is like, I can see it. Like it is a perfect movie. It is
so good.
What do I do with this? Like, I don't know. Like this is perfect.
Find the flaw. One of the Letterboxd reviews says, loving this movie is a red flag. And I'm like, why? I don't understand why. I don't get it.
I don't
I don't
get it
know.
either. I'm not sure. Maybe like you can say there's no real diversity in this movie, I guess, but it was
Well, that is
1989.
true.
But
Yeah.
but I mean, then the counter argument is like there's a Asian couple that speak for a little bit in the interview section. I mean, that's
The bare
diversity.
minimum.
The very bare minimum. And then they're talking about the villages that they were both in and stuff. And I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's great. What else do you have to say about this movie, Alyssa? I want you to go. Everything that you always want to say about When Harry Met Sally on a podcast, now's the time.
Oh, wow. Okay. I don't know. I just feel like it's such like a delightful film. Like, and I feel like the conversations are so true to life. Like they are things that you would just talk about.
Yeah.
And again, like the lines are just like in my head always. Like even at the beginning of the movie where Billy Crystal gets in the car and he just says, "Tell me the story of your life." I'm like, okay, that is me. I feel like I say stuff like that.
You say that? Would you do that to a stranger in the
constantly.
car? I guess.
Unfortunately, yes. And
Wait, Alyssa, I have to ask you, are you the person on a flight that will start talking? Oh man, you're
I'm
that person.
So but I will say I think I'm pretty good at reading the room. So if I'm beside someone and I can tell they don't want to chat, I think that I'm like pretty good to like get that.
If they have headphones on and they're watching a movie, you're not gonna just tap them on the shoulder and be like, "Hey, what's your life about?"
Yeah, but if you're up for it, in 10 minutes, I'm going to know where you were born, the names of your siblings, what your, life dreams are. I'm very good at getting right to the core of the issue.
This is why you're good at your job. Yeah.
Yes. Which I feel like that's a little bit of Billy Crystal's character in this movie.
Are you Billy Crystal in real life? Like this is your like personality? You're the Billy Crystal in your story?
Yeah. And that kind of scares me a little bit. I also quote all the time the part of the movie where he tells her when he talks about like low maintenance, high maintenance, but the worst kind is a girl who thinks she's low maintenance but is high maintenance. I quote that constantly.
Great line.
All the time.
Great line.
Yeah, it's such a good movie, and I feel like I don't know. I just feel like at different parts of my life, I identify with different parts of the storyline. Like I feel like when I was younger, I was so invested in that main question of can men and women be friends? I remember like just asking people that all the time to get people's opinions. And then as I've gotten older, I've kind of shifted away from that. And I really identify with, her. And when she's in her relationship with Joe, the reason they don't break up is because she wants to get married and he doesn't want to get married. And kind of that idea of like, people wanting the same things and what your life is going to look like. And so I feel like that's kind of interesting. As I've grown up, different parts of the movie resonate with me.
Yeah. And they play those like ages really well, I think, even though I think the young version of Billy Crystal, the beginning of the movie looks a little ridiculous. I think
it's so bad,
like a little, but whatever. It was the 80s. But yeah, it's true. Like this movie touches on so many parts of life, stages of life.
Yes.
And it's surprising, even though like a lot of the movie, Billy Crystal is talking about this woman that he loved and got divorced from. So like at the very, very beginning of the movie, you find out that he's a dick. He's kind of like a womanizer, even though he tells the woman that he's seeing that he loves her and all this other stuff. But you realize like, and he has the personality of someone who sleeps with someone and then leaves and stuff, but he's completely heartbroken about this one woman.
Yeah.
For 80% of the movie, which is a surprising characteristic because you would assume in a lot of movies, it's like, all right, the lead actor, he's just going to keep sleeping around with people and that kind of stuff. But he still loved the person he was with.
Yeah. And then it kind of makes you wonder, like, is that, was that kind of all an act on his part? Like, was he really that person? Is that what he like felt that like he needed to show, like to like that is what masculinity was like at that time? Like it kind of, you kind of wonder like, why was he behaving that way? I don't know. Obviously, he did have a lot of deep feelings and just maybe didn't know how to, properly express them. So right. I think that's like really interesting. Like you can kind of get into like, they are like complex characters.
For sure. Yeah.
And very relatable. I find. Anyways.
I also think so too. Like at least to some degree, I think so. Like I'm not living the life that these two are having, but I can understand like the relationships they're having, like, and the the awkward conversations, like the blind date and stuff like that. Like that scene plays out so well to me, where it's just you're trying to set your friend up, and then the two people that, you know, the opposite people are now getting attracted to each other and they end up together. Right. And I think there's something about that scene that was like, oh, that's really nice. Or later in the movie where they're playing charades and they have like a date with them, but all they can do is start looking at each other. And I'm like, that is, it's doing it for me.
I know, a little too real. And that scene also has one of the best lines in the movie when Bruno Kirby yells, "Baby fish mouth." baby fish mouth is sweeping the nation. One of the best lines. There's do you remember the part in the movie they have just met up again at the bookstore and they're walking and she asks him if he would like to have dinner with her?
Mm-hmm.
I've always seen that scene and just assumed like, oh, this is the part where they're going to be friends. In the last couple of years, when I watch that scene, I think she's asking him out. And she's like, yes, I think that she's like looking at him and she's like, oh, do you know what? We kind of have this like good banter and we're both like kind of like depressed. We're both sad. I'm going to ask this guy out for dinner. And then he misreads it and says, are we becoming friends? And you can kind of see on her face that she's like, oh yeah. And I that's how I read it. And I tweeted about it once. I was like, do you guys think she's asking him out? And someone sent me a section of the screenplay. And in the screenplay, it says that she's like reads defeated.
Interesting.
And I think that's really interesting too, because I feel like that's really relatable of when you're friends with someone or you're kind of at the beginning stages of being friends with someone and, you know, one person maybe like makes a move to make it more and the other person doesn't really catch on. And then you're in that, you know, I think that's something that a lot of people have experienced as well.
Wow, that's fascinating. I did not read on that. I'm gonna look into that next time I watch the movie, because I feel like this movie is something that I'm gonna keep watching forever. Just every few years I put it on. Laura was really disappointed she didn't get to watch it with me. So here I was alone watching When Harry Met Sally with Captain Meatball. Just like feeling things as she's out with her girlfriends. Yeah. Hey, whatever. It's a great movie. I don't care.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I feel like we can't end the conversation without actually talking about the orgasm scene, because it's so, I don't know, quintessential, I guess. Like it's so recognizable to the movie. What do you think about it?
I mean, it is so iconic. Like I think people have, you know, copied it. People parody it. They'll, you know, I'll have what she's having is, I feel like one of the most referenced lines in pop culture. I can't imagine. I think I read that Meg Ryan like pitched that she would do it. Like they were just like talking about how could they have this conversation. And she was like, well, why don't I just do it? And I'm like, girl, good for you, because that would be a lot to act out. Like, you know, when you picture that in front of like a full film crew, and she nailed it. Like it's such a good scene.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And I read somewhere that, you know, people credit that scene with kind of like changing the way like we talk about sex in general in pop culture. I think it was kind of like a moment where maybe people were more focused on like the woman's experience. And it kind of like that kickstarted that, and it's kind of like weaved its way through narratives going forward.
Yeah, I don't know what else to add to that. I agree. I just, something about that scene is just so like a good fuck you to males, I guess, which I really appreciated, because I think, you know, breaking down that toxic masculinity of like, yeah, I made her orgasm and stuff like that. And then hearing it from this side and her doing the actions and really like showing it to Billy Crystal, and her face at the very end after she fake orgasms and goes back to eating is perfect. Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. And, you know, Billy Crystal's character is so sure of himself. Like every statement he says is, he's right. He knows exactly what he's talking about. There's no room for him to be wrong. And we spend the whole, you know, first part of the movie up to that point, just seeing him as this, you know, person who feels like he's the authority on everything he's saying. And it's such a good moment of her being like, I have listened to you say all this stuff, and this is my moment to put you in your place.
It's perfect. So I read the actual restaurant has a table that has a plaque on that table where the scene happened that says, when Harry met Sally, hope you have what she had. And it's just been forever memorialized there. And I think that's great.
It's iconic.
How much money would you pay to sit at that table and eat at?
Oh, great question. Honestly, probably a lot. I mean, I think I'm paying more for like the photo. I want like a good photo of it.
Yeah.
So I need some time to make sure like I'm getting the right lighting.
Yeah.
That has potential to be my most liked picture on Instagram to date. So
yes. And also you'd have to bring one person because obviously you can't bring your family there or just like,
yes.
you have to like stage the, I'm on a date, but also it's a friend date, like whatever. Who do you bring? One person.
Oh,
could be
gosh.
anyone, and it could be any celebrity you want as well.
Oh man, what a tough question.
I'm full of them. Yeah.
Honestly, I think in terms of like what's getting the most likes, I think it needs to be Billy Crystal.
Yeah, right? Okay.
Yeah.
But hang on. So I just love that you had to frame it in like, how do I get the most likes and traction on social media?
My number one celebrity I think that's what right now is Andrew Garfield. So maybe I'll.
But what if you didn't
answer.
care about that?
Wow, great.
And
pick.
I know at the back of your head,
Yeah.
you
Is it
do
temporary
care about
crush,
that,
or
or
do
you think it's
didn't
like a
care
long-lasting
about
one
that for just
now?
a second?
Well, they kind of like cycle in and out, and so I'm giving him like I don't know, maybe like another 6 weeks.
Another 6 weeks until. Have you ever been a Timothée Chalamet kind of gal, or is it too young?
I appreciate him, but no, like yes, but
years.
no.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna guess this is 3 years. In 3 years, when he decides he wants to do a rom-com, I feel like you'll get back on board with him.
Yeah, stay tuned.
Okay, great. All right. Hey, you never know. He got to kiss Jennifer Lawrence in Don't Look Up, so maybe they'll end up in a rom-com together.
I will say that Timothée Chalamet playing an evangelical in that movie was my favorite thing about the movie.
Me too. Okay. We've talked a lot about When Harry Met Sally, but I want to give it to you one last time. Any final thoughts that you want to impart to the people about this movie?
Final thoughts, I would say if you are having the kind of day where you wish that you were living in a rom-com, listen to the soundtrack because that soundtrack makes every part of your life feel like you're in the scene of a movie. So that's my number one advice. And final thought, if I could only have Meg Ryan's makeup routine from this movie, I feel like it would fix everything in my life.
Wow. How about her hair? Her hair is immaculate in this movie.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It's so good. It's so good. I'm like, wow, how does she do that? That's insane.
I know. It like perfection.
I have to say something. It just made me just inspired by the conversation of Meg Ryan. I think there's some terrible people out there that have hated on Meg Ryan in the past, especially internet bros, which I don't even know why I'm giving the time of day for them. But anyways, for whatever reason, people are like, Meg Ryan, she's aged terribly and all this other stuff. And I hate that, first of all. But also, like, Meg Ryan has given us so much. She's still beautiful. And that's all I have to say. Like, what is this? Why are people hating on Meg Ryan? She's given us so much.
Do you know what? I could not agree more.
Yeah. I mean, people
She's
don't hate on Billy Crystal.
Much. The least we can do is give her the respect she deserves.
She does. She's given us how many movies? A zillion. I don't know. Countless. What other fun Meg Ryan movies do you love besides You've Got Mail?
Sleepless in Seattle. I appreciate that movie. Not one of my faves.
Mm-hmm.
Other Meg Ryan movies. I mean, I feel like those are kind of like the main three. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I have any other ones of hers that I truly love. Do you?
No, but I've always really, it was City of Angels, one of them. Yes. I think I've seen that one. Like, I've always appreciated Meg Ryan as an actress because she's given us those, like, especially, it was just When Harry Met Sally and You've Got Mail. And I think with those, and then, Sleepless in Seattle, when you make like a trifecta like that, I feel like you shouldn't be hated. Even in general, I feel like when people like make fun of people for how they age, I think that's a really shitty thing to do to someone.
It's so bad. And I truly believe that if you make fun of someone else for how they're aging, that is just karma and you're going to age bad.
Yeah, right. And like, I don't know, like then people get self-conscious about it and you end up with like people who do like insane Botox stuff to their face and like nose jobs. We've seen it with like a lot of, I think, Hollywood actresses and actors in the past. Like, I don't know what's happening to Zac Efron right now, but his jaw looks all kind of.
Oh my God. Did you see the newest Zac Efron movie?
Which one was it? Was that the one with what's her face? Jessica
No,
Alba?
it's one where he's like in the Australian desert.
Okay. No, I haven't seen it.
I won't spoil it on this podcast, but I've been spoiling it for everyone in my actual life because
Wait,
that
is
movie,
it worth watching?
his performance is really good.
Okay.
He's actually quite wonderful because in most of the movie he's by himself.
Okay.
And he's really good. His face looks like kind of more back to normal after we had that. I don't know what was going on and what he looks like right now, but I don't know if I would say it's worth a watch.
Okay, so you can spoil it for me then.
Can I spoil it on the? Okay, I'm just going to tell everyone. I'm going to tell you what happens at the end of the movie. So he is by himself in the Australian desert, protecting this piece of gold that he found while his buddy goes to get an excavator. So he spends all his time. His face gets so messed up because he gets like blistered, sunburned. It's crazy. He gets eaten by a dog. That's how the movie ends.
What?
That's how the movie ends. He gets eaten by a dog.
What? Was the dog always mean? Who is this dog? Where did this dog come from?
It's like a pack of like dingoes or something. And they attack him. I swear to God. I was like, did I just watch 2 hours of this movie for Zac Efron to get eaten by a dog? This is the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Wow. That I have so much to talk about. First of all, just that I love that this dog eating movie came up from a conversation about Botox and aging.
The example of me talking about Botox and then talking about Zac Efron getting eaten by a dog is the most perfect example of just what it's like to interact with me on a daily basis.
I love it. Okay, Alyssa, you have to give When Harry Met Sally a rating. How would you rate it?
I would give it 5 baby fish mouths out of 5.
That's a perfect scale. I can't beat that. I'll have what Alyssa's
What about
you? Let's see here. I'm going to give it. Geez, you took the best line. I will give it negative wedding wheel coffee tables.
That's great.
Nobody wants that. In which case, This movie's perfect, is what I'm saying. Trying to find the most niche part of the movie.
Oh, that's so good.
Alyssa, this was such a fantastic and fun time. I'm always happy to talk to you. It's been too long. What do you have to plug for the people at home?
I honestly don't feel like I have anything to plug. Feel free to follow me on Instagram at Alyssa Wool, ALYSSAWOOL. Other than that, nothing. Just enjoy your life.
Don't plug the Zac Efron dog movie. It sounds like
no, but then I kind of feel bad. I don't want to tell people to not watch it because I feel bad for Zac and I want him to be successful.
I think he's pretty successful, Alyssa. I think he's doing okay. He has a lot of money. He's very recognizable.
You do have a point.
Yeah, he still has a rockin' bod. Whatever's going on with his face, he still got it. Okay,
he'll figure it out.
I think he's this close to becoming in a Marvel movie. Like he's very close.
Yes, I could see that.
Yeah. All right. Well, and are you and your sister still doing Instagram chats with each other? Because I saw that was happening a little while, and I just really quickly, what was that all about? Because it sounded like a lot of fun.
Yeah, when I went into, do you guys call them circuit breakers there?
Wait, no? What's a circuit breaker? What are you talking about?
So, a circuit breaker is basically just like a lockdown. So we went into a 2-week lockdown called a circuit breaker.
That's what it's called.
Anyways.
Why is PEI so weird? Okay, continue.
I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe because it sounds less scary than lockdown. I don't know. Anyways, we both were stuck at home, and me and my sister talk on the phone for like an hour every night anyways. And we were like, we should do this on Instagram Live. So we did them for a couple nights, 30-minute live chats. And then, as I said at the beginning of this, I'm a pretty flaky person, and so is she. So we did like 4 or 5, and we were like, enough of that. We might start doing them once a week. Who knows?
I've been saying to Alyssa, if it ever happens and if they ever want to start a podcast, because I think their dynamic is perfect. I don't know many sisters out there who talk to each other every single night.
The other day, I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't heard from Jenny all day. I checked my text messages. I had literally texted her like 15 times already that day.
Make a podcast is all I'm saying. We need to hear more PEI slogans and sayings and circuit breakers. I don't even know what's happening there. I would love to see it. Anyways, thanks again, Alyssa, for being on the podcast. So much fun.
Thank you so much for having me. This was awesome.
I hope to have you back again. Maybe not on Valentine's Day. Let's break the tradition. I know you love Valentine's Day, but I'd love to have you back any other time of the year.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yes. And for myself, you can find the rest of the shows in Pod Cavern at www.podcavern.com. Check out all the shows, and happy Valentine's Day to all of you, or Palentine's Day, Galentine's Day, Brolentine's Day. No one calls it that. Before
I think we
go,
could start it though.
We can start it. Oh yeah, we can start it today. But before we go, Alyssa has a world famous catchphrase that she's going to throw at you right now.
Do I intro it? Do I say like, I'm Alyssa, or do I just say it? I've already ruined it. Could this be the catchphrase?
Yes.
I think this is the catchphrase. I've already ruined it.
Bye, everyone.